Previously on Keeping Up with the Countries, World War I was raging because Archduke Ferdinand was shot, resulting in the beginning of World War I. The primary participants in the war were the Ottoman Empire, Austria-Hungary, and Germany, against France, Britain, and Russia. Italy didn't really participate in the war, however, they were promised land at the end. Near the end of the war, Germany gave Mexico a Zimmerman note, but the U.S. found out and joined Britain in the war. In the end, Germany lost, and the U.S., Britain, France, and Italy decided that Germany owed them because they had been injured. So, they met at the Treaty of Versailles.
Ugh, I can't believe I lost the war. Over half of my people in the war were dead or wounded. I was so weak that I was no longer a challenger to Britain or the United States of America. Also, my economy and political stability was at an all-time low. It was just terrible. I lost so much. And the worst part is, I paid the most during the war, only to lose and have to pay reparations.
Well, I mean, I won the war, but all the fighting ruined my land because of trench warfare. A lot of my people died, and my industrial region was destroyed. In addition, there was economic devastation. The good thing is that I got some land along the Rhine and some of Germany's African territories.
Well, I got some Austrian territories, but most of the land I was promised I didn't receive. The war caused a lot of violent protests, so I had a socialist party to bring everyone together. Mussolini was the fascist-themed party planner, and this helped us bond with Germany.
Well, I did gain a lot of territory after the war, especially in the Middle East. But there was a high loss of life and financial damage. The world's financial center moved from London to New York after this war, and now I owe the U.S. a lot of money too. It really sucks.
Well, I was fashionably late to join the war, but I mean, lucky for me, right? There were still some lives lost, but a very small amount compared to the other countries. I ended up having the most amount of resources and people, so my economy was stimulated. There were more jobs and better wages for my people, too.
In June of 1919, the Allies, along with Germany, met in Versailles, Paris, to sign the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty forced Germany to take complete blame for the war. Germany had to pay $30 billion in reparations, which caused the already struggling German economy to take a plunge. Germany had no choice but to sign the treaty. The country was mortified and ashamed. The primary causes of the Treaty of Versailles was Germany's participation in World War I, the fact that many countries were damaged by the war, and they had to take power away from Germany so that they could have no more than 100,000 soldiers and only a certain amount of ships and weapons. Also, Alsace-Lorraine had to be given back to France. Germany's empire was destroyed.
The Treaty of Versailles resulted in the Allies taking most of Germany's land and making them pay for reparations. Germany was cut off from some of their trades as well as imports and exports, which made the price of goods go up. Germany also tried to print more money to pay striking workers. Overall, this resulted in hyperinflation, which wiped out their economy.
The League of Nations was an attempt to unify countries of the world against the possibility of future wars after World War I created disastrous effects for numerous countries. This peaceful organization tried to solve the international problems through the use of their three sanctions. The first sanction was the League's Assembly, where representatives from different countries would all sit down and discuss problems in a peaceful manner. Here, countries would verbalize their issues and talk about the possible consequences if peace could not be achieved. If this didn't work, the League introduced their economic sanction, which made it so that if a country wasn't doing what the League of Nations asked, they would suffer financial turmoil and feel the need to do as the League suggested. Physical sanctions were next, which meant that military forces would be used. However, the League did not have any military forces at their disposal, so this sanction failed. Even though it attempted to help the countries, in the end, the League of Nations was all talk and no action.
So I had this really weird dream that I didn't have to pay reparations for World War I.
This episode on Keeping Up with the Countries.
Germany did not have to pay war reparations at the Treaty of Versailles.
Germany's economy wasn't heavily damaged after World War I, resulting in Hitler not coming into power and the Weimar Republic staying in power.
Germany was not greedy, and they did not invade Poland. Since everyone was getting along, there was no Holocaust or World War II.
I saw this letter that the Weimar Republic wrote to Hitler. They told him that he can't be the Chancellor of Germany. I mean, I guess since the German economy is booming, nobody wants some new guy to show up and mess stuff up, you know? And apparently Hitler is, like, super anti-Semitic and hates Jewish people. With someone like that in power, our popularity across the whole world could go down. I have a reputation to uphold, and another world war caused by one of my leaders would totally wreck up my image. Thank God the Weimar Republic is here to stay.
So I heard that Hitler guy, the one who wrote the Mein Kampf, threw a Nazi party on the same night as the Weimar Republic. And awkward for Hitler because the Weimar Republic won the popular vote. I mean, all Hitler ever talks about is how the Aryan race was the best, and everyone else was the cause of Germany's downfall. And I keep hearing that he wanted to take revenge on me because I was a part of the winning side during World War I.
Germany didn't invade my country because Hitler never came into power, thank goodness. His anti-Semitic and racist views were not as widely publicized, and not as many people followed in his footsteps. Since my country wasn't invaded, Germany didn't get their living space.
So, I was reading the newspaper today and saw that the Big Three met to create the Treaty of Versailles. I saw that they decided to split the cost equally, and now everything is peaceful. I'm so glad that everything worked out. And in the end, we're family.
Since we split the cost of the war equally, there was no more arguing, and everything was peaceful. And there were no more invasions. Thankfully, we avoided war. I mean, another world war? How bad would that be?
But it was only just a dream.